Hi. Well, gosh all gee, if I didn't almost forget to do my vlog today. Yeah, I was just sitting here counting the hours until it's time to visit my friend and weaving on my rigid heddle table loom. Let me just shift you over. I'm going to weave as I talk. This is a rigid heddle table loom. It's almost done, and then I'll have to string it up again. You basically just pass the shuttle through the shed. That's what a shed roof is, you see? See that shed? Shed roof? That's why they call it a shed. Because it's shaped like that. That's the heddle, and it's rigid as in it just goes up and down. You can't move all these little teeth individually to get fancy patterns. If you want a fancy pattern, you have to do it the hard way with what's known as a pickup stick, where you go weep, 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 and then you force it open to make a shed, and then you pass and you got to count, and I've done a few like that, but this isn't one of them. This one's just a straight blue and white check. It's wool, and it's moth-eaten, so I've had to do a lot of tying, but I'm learning my weaver's knot. A weaver's knot is a special knot that is very small, but holds fast against longitudinal strain. So yeah, then you move the heddle into it's one of three positions. There's up, down, and neutral. So neutral is in the middle, so it's up, neutral, down. And then you go from up to down, and you use neutral when you want to roll the warp. In fact, that's what I've got to do right now. You release the warp at one end, and you pull it in at the other end, and then you roll the finished fabric onto the roller closest to you. Oh, it's getting harder and harder to do. I'm nearly done. I've actually reached the point where the ties are fastened. And so I've only got about another 12 inches, and then I have to string up a new batch because I'm going to have to do 3 of these to complete what I want to do. I want to make a blanket. These come out 14 inches wide and about 12 feet long. And I want a blanket that is 4 feet wide and about 6 feet long, but I plan to shrink it to get it tighter. It's called fulling. So first I'll make 3 12-foot by 14-inch sections, sew them together, finish off the edges, and then I'm going to run them through a hot cycle in the washing machine to force it to shrink. And that will felt it together, make it a lot thicker. It's called fulling. Well, it's my version of fulling. Truly fulling the cloth would involve hammering it in hot soapy water for an hour. And it's possible when I pull it out of the washer, since I've never done this before, that I won't like the results. And I'll want it fulled a little bit more. But bigger is good, so as long as it just tightens up the weave a little bit and gives me a denser, thicker, warmer blanket that's more durable in spite of all the places where I've had to tie knots in the yarn, well, that's going to make me happy. Uh-oh, see, I've got another broken strand. Or is it? Oh, it's acting weird, but it's not broken. What on earth is going on here? Huh. I've gotten to the point where, because when I was putting this together, I had a great deal of difficulty on account of all the breaking of strands. And I think what I'm seeing here is a spot where one of the strings didn't come out the same length and tension as all the rest. I actually took the whole thing apart, strung it up all over again, winding up with lots of cross strands and messed up tension. So I didn't break a thread. I just got a bad tension on it. And I just did the up. And now I do the down. So this, I was getting back to playing Xbox. I watch a lot of Xbox on YouTube, and it gets me wanting to play. I'm like, oh, I can do that, and oh, that looks like fun. And so I was on the Xbox, as you saw, and it's fun. And then I realized it's exactly the same kind of fun as weaving. And I got a blanket to finish, and when I'm done with the Xbox, I have nothing to show for my trouble. Nothing. No one's ever going to look at the work I've done in my Xbox world. Same thing with Animal Crossing. Once again, it adds nothing to the world. It doesn't It doesn't add any kind of social reward for me, and it doesn't add anything to the world. But to take a lot of string and, oh, if I could, if I could spin, that would be interesting. But then, at some point I'd be like, oh, well, now all I have to do is grow the sheep. There's plenty of people doing that, and I admire the heck out of them, but I'm not about to start a sheep farm. So I'll just stick with weaving and knitting and making lace and putting them together and sewing them into stuff. And as I was making this, I was thinking, I wonder if there's an article of clothing I could make out of it instead of a blanket, because I've got plenty of blankets. I don't need another one. And when you're done, what you've got is fabric that can then be cut and stitched into an article of clothing. Shirt, pants, vest, hat, coat, I don't know. Most of what I go through is pants and hats. But I did make a pair of pants out of some woven cloth. And I really, really like the results. What a mess. I wonder if I can just tie this to get it tighter. I think I can. Yeah, I did. I had been making. I had a length of black and white stripes. Have I got an example? I had black. Whoa! I'm sorry. I just about knocked you off the table. There we go. No, I don't have an example. Yeah, I think I've got an example. I had a length of. That's not it. That's not it. I made these. These are examples of what you could do on a loom. And this is an example of where I said we use the pickup sticks to pick out a pattern. So I was playing with it. I've got a stiff neck, so I can't turn around very well. Yeah, all my examples. The only example I've got is this one right here. You see that on there under my monitor? That's the only one that's not in the laundry. Well, I had a bunch of that, and then I had variegated yarn, which is what this is made with. The yarn changes color as it runs along the strand, and when you weave it up, you get this really interesting texture. Real simple. And I had rainbow. It went through the pattern of the rainbow. So I had black and white stripes this way, and I had rainbow going that way, and I was just like, oh, wow. I said to myself, I really like the way this fabric looks. I want to wear this. And so I decided that, I have a really hard time finding pants that I like. My most comfortable pants are pajama pants, and, socially you can't wear those in public. You look like you're losing it. There's fashion standards to be maintained, and I'm kind of getting over that, but this is where I've been all my life. And so I had to make real pants for going out in public. And I thought, oh, if I cut this really groovy textile into pajama pants pattern with a nice elastic waist, then it's just as comfy as pajama pants, but a little dressier. And so I did. And I find they work best with suspenders. I gave them nice big pockets. Female clothing never has pockets. In fact, I'm going to stop buying in the female section. I've had enough. I'm going to start buying in the men's section. And then I will have clothes with pockets and durable fabrics. Because women's clothing is deliberately not practical in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sick and tired of it. So what I don't make myself, I will buy in the men's department from now on. And so, yeah. What kind of an article of clothing do you think I should make out of this? More pants out of wool? Well, it'll be pre-shrunk. Could make pants. I don't need another vest. I don't need another sweater. I could use a nice coat, but I don't think I'll have enough wool for that. Maybe a jacket. That's a thought. That's a thought. What do you think? Comment. Put something in the comments. It helps my YouTube ratings. I'm more likely to show up on, if I tag this with weaving and vlogs and stuff, then when someone's watching stuff about weaving and vlogs, this is more likely to pop up if you've hit the like button and you've commented on it, because it makes YouTube think that it's interesting. Well, I know it's not, but we can lie, can't we? Everybody else is lying. So you want to watch me weave? That's more interesting than watching me talk, right? There, you can watch it from that angle. It's a bit goofy. Oop-de-doop-de-doo. The thing I find about weaving is that it's very hypnotic. I mean, people look at it and they say to me, oh my, you have so much patience and that looks like a lot of work. And I think, well, yeah, but you're sitting there on Call of Duty or Bubble Pop or Solitaire or something. You know, every night you're doing something that's pretty much equal. You're playing some kind of game and you're getting the same thing out of it that I'm getting out of what I'm doing here. Because this is giving me peace and mellowness. It's mellow. Oh dear. It's also still got too loose of a strand. Yeah, this is a very, you know, I think I do have a broken strand I haven't found somewhere. I'll just weave around it. I can do that. And I did not discover some innate talent. Someone actually said to me, you're so talented. And I'm like, what's talented? Exactly the same number of stripes one way as the other and you get a result. You know, up, down, up, down. There's no talent required. Patience, certainly. You have to be able to count. 1, 2, okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 2 more strands and then I switch to the white one. Because it's every 20 strands I do 4 white. And then I go back to 20 strands of blue. And that's not talent, my friends. That's patience. And not much more than patience. Lots of patience when your strands are doing goofy things, though. You know, this strand here has just gotten even bigger for some reason. I'll take the tension off and I'll try tying it that way because it's really hard to use when it's like this. Normally you can't knot it the way I'm knotting it, but because it's at the end of the warp, it won't matter. So yeah, I just sit here watching videos all day and weaving. That's pretty much how I'm spending my time, and it gets a little boring, but it's not bad. In this book I've been reading, weavers are actually one of the first workforces he discusses and how they're put out of work by the factories and they become factory drones. And that it takes the craft out of the work and it takes the livelihood out of the community. And it was a really interesting, you know, it was man against machine, and here I am doing it the old style way. And someone recently said, oh, you should make it and sell it. And I said, well, you know, selling, that's a talent that I don't have. Like, how do you sell it? If it takes me a month of 16-hour days to make a blanket, that's 30 times 160 at minimum wage. That's 3 times 16 is 36, 48. So $500 for one wool blanket just in labor. And we still have to add in the cost of the wool, which was around $100, I think. So we're looking at $600 for a wool blanket. You know what happens when you go somewhere and you plunk $600 price tag on a blanket that's basically a single or twin size? Do you know what happens? It doesn't sell. But I go to these handicraft places and I see blankets that are priced at $250 and I think, I can make that for the cost of the material if I'm patient. And I go home and I make it. So I may not be making money off of it, but I am saving money. And I'm acquiring for myself some very nice things and or nice gifts. There just isn't any money in handcrafts. Once again, the machines have beat out the people. You can't make money doing handcrafts. Not honestly. You can do it through some kind of deceptive marketing by convincing people that somehow your imperfections make it better, that you're somehow more creative than everybody else, that it's an investment that they'll be able to get their money back out later and all that kind of nonsense. You know, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and one too many. And I'm not that person. That's one of the talents I don't have for marketing, is I don't like to lie to people. If you want to be a marketer, you've got to like lying to people. It's got to feel right okay, clever, and able. So, the rich get rich, the poor get poorer. One might well suggest that the poor are more honest than the rich, and that's why they get poorer. But that wouldn't be very nice, would it? And certainly we all know a lot of dishonest people, but, you know, poverty takes a lot of the honesty out of the system. I mean, after a while it's like, okay, ethical principles or food? Most people choose the food. It gets to a point where it's not even up to you. Your body tells you what you're going to do. Your body says, no, I'm not starving anymore just because you've got principles. And you eat. Just like when someone hits you, no matter how pacifist you are, somebody punches you in your face, your hand's going to fly out and hit them back. You might apologize later and feel really guilty, but you will have hit them back. That's your body did it. It would have been a reflex action, whether you like it or not. So, I think I'm going to get back to weaving. I've only got I got to leave in about an hour. Actually, less than an hour. I'm going to be leaving right away. So, I'm going to put this away for later, because I'm going to go visit a friend who needs visiting. And I'm going to say goodbye to you.